Madam President, I come again to speak about what I think the inequities and unfairness to the system that we have to American workers. American workers, businesses, and the economy are the envy of the world. We are in the United States and have been for quite some time. Throughout the history of our country, our citizens have believed that through hard work and dedication, they could achieve the American dream. Unfortunately, that is not always the case, as we know. For millions of Americans, they worked hard, played by the rules, and trusted the companies they worked for to keep their end of the bargain. That bargain is their pension. These pensions are modest and what millions of Americans plan to use when they retire at the twilight of their life. But for 1.5 million Americans, that security has been pulled out from under them. While after working hard for years and forgoing a portion of their paycheck, which they've invested, this is their money matching their employers, for their pensions, they've either lost or gotten their pensions cut in half. The answer is the current state of bankruptcy laws. So how does this happen? Every paycheck, which is 10.6 million Americans, put a portion of their paycheck into a pension account with the promise and trust that it will be there when they retire. These same people forego pay raises, bonuses, and personal retirement accounts because they believe their pensions will be there until needed. Unfortunately, that trust is often broken when investment firms swoop in during the bankruptcy process. They cherry-pick at the remains of a company, cannibalizing its most lucrative assets, therefore putting profits before the people. Through no fault of the workers in America, companies are able to use their pension money for whatever they want when they declare bankruptcy. Just think about that. All your life you've been working, 20, 30 years or more, and you thought it was always secured, and all of a sudden, through the bankruptcy laws, they're able to take your money and use it for whatever they want to now because they've declared bankruptcy and gone through a proceeding. Under current law, when companies declare bankruptcy, they have the ability to use their workers' pension fund to give their executive bonuses and pay legal costs and debt. I'm going to repeat that one. They have the ability to use the workers' pension, your money, workers' money, to give the executives who should be held responsible for the company doing as poorly as it's done to go into bankruptcy, and get bonuses and pay legal costs and debt out of the money that you've put in there for 20 years or more. For the last few decades, investment firms have manipulated Chapter 11 of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code to destroy union contracts, reduce health benefits, and skirt pension obligations to maximize profits. Under current law, investment firms can target companies through Chapter 11 bankruptcies, sell off all the company's valuable assets, and leave the pension plan in a worthless corporate shell while paying handsome bonuses to their executives. While Congress has While Congress has set back and allowed the exploitation that occurs through bankruptcy, millions of workers and retirees have lost their retirement security. Workers and retirees did not see and did not set the amounts each company contributes to their pension plans, the terms of the plans, or the loopholes in the bankruptcy laws. Those actions were all done right here in the halls of Congress. As such, it is now the responsibility and duty of Congress to stop the financial engineering and close of the loopholes of our bankruptcy code. Let me just talk about one company that affects my state vastly. Is last week, the largest private coal company in the United States, Murray Energy, filed for bankruptcy, making it the 8th coal company in the past 12 months to do so. Like so many coal companies before them, they plan to skirt their pension obligations and use coal miners' money to pay off their debts, give their executive bonuses, and pay off legal fees. In the bankruptcy filing, they even labeled coal miners as liabilities. I don't know about you, but I don't know how any company, in good conscience, could ever label their employees as liabilities. They're the ones that made the company. But now it's a liability, so that's why they had to go into bankruptcy. Murray Energy has contributed 97% of the money going into the UMWA pension fund annually. With Murray's bankruptcy filing, the UMA pension fund will become insolvent even faster. Once the UMWA pension fund becomes insolvent, this crisis will snowball and impact every other multi-employer pension fund in America. I'm going to talk about a couple cases here to put it in perspective. I think everyone will be able to follow this much easier. I'm going to talk about Sears, old Sears and Roebuck that we all knew growing up, and my mother used to get the catalog way back when, and we used to do most of our shopping there. And this information I'm giving you, and we're going to explain, comes from a complaint filed by Sears itself in the Southern District of New York in January 2019. This is the old Sears filing against the new Sears, the takeover Sears. This type of financial engineering and exploitation occurred at Sears over the past several years. After merging with Kmart and being taken over by Eddie Lambert and his hedge fund, ESL Investments, Sears started to buy back its own shares instead of investing in its already run-down stores. Lambert also transferred 235 parcels of Sears' most valuable real estate to an investment trust led by Lambert himself, then leased the properties back to Sears. In 2017, Sears paid the investment trust owned by Mr. Lambert $117 million in rent for the use of its former property. Under Lambert and ESL, Sears closed over 3,500 stores, slashed roughly 250,000 jobs, and saw its share price fall from $193 a share in 2007 to less than $1. I repeat, $193 a share in 2007 to less than $1 a share. After filing bankruptcy in 2018, Sears no longer possessed enough assets to pay off its creditors, especially its pension obligation. Now, those pensions are in the hands of the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation, which is Sears' largest unsecured creditor, and it owes the PPGC more than $1.5 billion. Recently, Sears Holding Company, or Corporation, filed a lawsuit against former CEO Lambert, alleging that he transferred more than $2 billion of cash and real estate to himself and other shareholders in the years leading up to the retailer's bankruptcy. And that's all been done what he would consider, or they consider, legal. So I want to talk about one more. This is Friendly's. Friendly's is an ice cream corporation. And this information comes from the PBGC complaint opposing Friendly's plan for restructuring. So I'm telling you, this comes from the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation, which we run in this country, the federal government, and they put this complaint against their restructuring. The same scheme played out with them in early 2000. In 2007, Sun Capital Partners, Inc., a private equity firm, purchased Friendly's for $337 million. Trying to weather the Great Recession, Sun forced Friendly's to close 63 stores and take a loan from one of the firm's affiliate entities. At that point, Sun Capital was both the owner and major creditor of Friendly's. That relationship gave the firm leverage in its bankruptcy to quickly sell much of Friendly's assets, free and clear of any pension obligations, to one Sun Capital's affiliates. At the end of the bankruptcy, most of Friendly's assets were owned by Sun Capital affiliate, free and clear of any pension claims. Those unfunded pension obligations totaled $115 million and are being assumed by you and I, the taxpayers, through the PBGC. There is nothing fair about any of this that I just explained, no matter how large or how small. This is what we're talking about, righting a wrong that we've allowed to happen. Back in the 80s, when the bankruptcy laws were changed, I don't think there was a member here that intended for this type of shenanigans, this type of robbery and thievery to go on in America. And it's happened for far too long, and we have a chance to change it. As the bankruptcy laws continue to allow this exploitation, there remains a low-profile government agency that is pivotal to the federal government's efforts to protect the pension benefits for thousands of American workers and retirees. The Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation collects insurance premiums from companies that offers pensions and provides a portion of the lost benefit to affect retirees when a pension fund runs out of money. It's an insurance background that the federal government has backed up, and the companies are paying into that, thinking they're going to be in good standing. Overall, the PBGC covers the benefits for about 44 million people, 44 million workers. However, the PBGC has come under tremendous financial pressure as more and more companies have shed their pension debts through the bankruptcy code. According to PBGC, there is a 90% chance that the union insurance program will run out of money by 2025, leaving it unable to protect pensioners in need. If the exploitation continues and PBGC is left holding the check for bankrupt companies, taxpayers will, for the first time in history, we taxpayers will be, for the first time in history, be on the hook for pensions that were evasively disregarded in exchange for investment company profit or robbery, if you know. If the PBGC becomes insolvent, taxpayers will be on the hook. Listen to this figure. We as taxpayers will be on the hook for $479 billion over the next 30 years if we allow this to continue. That's why I'm introduced and have introduced legislation that will reform our bankruptcy laws. It's called the SLAP Act, Stop Looting America's Pensions. And that's exactly what we've allowed happen for so long. It would ensure that companies can no longer exploit loopholes in the bankruptcy code to skirt their pension obligation to workers and retirees. My bill would change bankruptcy laws to increase the priority of workers during the bankruptcy proceedings, so the workers are the first priority, not the executive bonus and legal fees. What we're doing for the first time is making sure the wage earner, the worker, is in the front of the line, not the back of the line. Right now, if a bankruptcy occurs, I guarantee you, all of the different reorganization groups that come in, all the different financial groups will get on the front of the line, and the worker's left with nothing. This reverses that procedure. So, it's a sad day when American workers across the country pour decades of their life into a company and are denied their pensions due to corporate greed. Madam President, I keep hearing CEOs talk about corporate responsibility, and I'm so thankful to hear that word, corporate responsibility. Well, this is a step towards putting those words into action. I would like to see the responsible corporate heads of American industry step forward and help us with this needed change. We have to put our workers at the front of the line, and I would like to see that done sooner than later. So I thank you, Madam President, and I yield the floor.